required to give judges a list of tricks they would perform. This season, they're cutting loose. The open style demands creativity and rewards the ability to knit the tricks together. Last year, Jeremy Kovac won the X Games by completing 5 tricks in his run. This year, that wouldn't place him in the top 5, and perhaps there's no better innovator than Darren Shapiro, the current king of the wakeboarding circuit. Early on, Shapiro was showing off his ability to get the big air. A score of 63.44 was good enough for first place in his heat, and the run was quite clean but conservative compared to what Darren normally dares to throw on the line. Well, Shapiro's been in a slump this spring. Maybe that explains it. He's lost the last 3 Pro Tour contests, so if he has reasons for conservatism, Parks Bonifay has a big reason for confidence. The Golden Boy, who won the 1996 X Games at age 14, is coming off a big win last weekend in Shreveport, Louisiana. Let's join Doug Dunbar and Todd Wetherill with continuing competition from the first round.
The second half of our field of 16 set to ride here at Bonita Cove. The water very cool. Salt water providing a little spray, a little different ride for our 16 competitors. Each guy gets 1 chance up and back here in Bonita Cove. Top 4 will move on to the round of 8. Now, Zane Schwank, 22 years old out of Winter Haven, didn't compete last year. Bad injury. Very glad to be back.
Boy, he sure is. I tell you, he came by way of X Trials in St. Petersburg. He's been doing an awesome job at just standing up his runs and making the finals.
He's a former freestyle jump skier. Knows that aerial awareness all too well.
There's the chromo. Good trick for Zane. Gets the whirly bird. Nice outside the wake landing on that whirly.
Schwank, kind of a medical miracle on the water, really. He's got a steel rod that runs from his knee to his ankle in his left leg.
See him there on the whirly. Look how much further out he lands on that. That's a great edge into the wake.
Pass 1 done. Pass number 2 now. No time limit. No limit on the number of tricks. The Slurpee. Schwank down. Now, good news, bad news. He's down, but under the new format, he can get back up and ride again, and it was so early in the run, he's going to get a lot of tricks back in.
Yeah, plus the Slurpee's a difficult trick. You're coming in, you can't see where you're coming off the wake. Watch as he cuts in here. Front side, sort of. Kind of not seeing where you're at when you come back down. Just a little stiff leg. He goes in hard.
We continue with the second pass.
Beautiful method front to start off with. That's when you grab the tip, outside edge of the board. A little bobble. Gets the Mobius. That's one of Zane's best tricks. Front side front roll right there. I don't think he's going to be stoked about the overall performance. But you notice on this, watch the front. Grabs it method. I think that's the best trick in his pass.
Couple of great passes. Zane Schwank is going to post a pretty good score in Heat B.
We'll see.
57-78. He moves into first. Now the next guy on the water. Number 1 seed into the finals in 1996 of fall. 97, brain lock at Bonita Cove for Dean Lavelle. Last year, riders had to declare the tricks they'd throw. Dean forgot them. The new format, you don't have to declare anything, so this should be a big day for Dean Lavelle.
Yeah, talking to Dean, he was stoked. You just go out and throw whatever you want on the water. If you forget what you're going to throw, you go to something else. There you see the S-band. Watch him line up. He's going to do the Slurpee.
Just like Zane Schwank, who fell, Lavelle cleans it.
Beautiful trick. I tell you, that's such a difficult maneuver. He gets a 360 right there. Nice little grab. Half cab roll. He's looking good so far, throwing all types of different tricks to these judges.
Oh, careful, Dean. I'll tell you, this guy has come back so nicely because for an entire year now, he's lived with that choke label from 1997's X Games. And to see him put together a terrific first pass, a lot of confidence now.
On the 360, that's called the stale fish grab. He's going to be happy because the composition was wide on that trick run.
In judging the riders, it's how much effort you put into it, how well you pull it off, and how these tricks flow together. Lavelle right into the whirlybird and back into trick number 3 on pass 2. Looking great as far as flow.
Throws a bat wing. That's a difficult maneuver because you're upside down facing the opposite direction. Goes for another 360. That's a repeat, but it was from the opposite wake. There you see the front. Throws in the method grab.
A blind landing, and how happy is Dean Lavelle? 2 stand-up passes finally at the X Games.
Boy, just to get through those, Dean's got to be stoked. Notice him front side coming in. Gets the blind side landing. There's the handle. He is stoked. Watch him cutting in hard. He has a great edge into the wake. Notice his handle. Handle stays out, but watch him pull it back into the back right at the last second. That's what's needed for a blindside landing.
With that effort, Dean Lavelle will almost certainly live on to the next round. First place for now, 65.56. He tops Heat B. Now the big question, 2 riders to go. So that means Ryan Wolf, who currently sits in 3rd position, and Kobe Mikasic in 4th, will have to wait on the beach and wonder if they, in fact, will advance. We'll be back, but now we'll send you over to Bike Street with the call. Paul Higgins and Jackie Cove have given a warm welcome in men's round 1 wakeboarding to Rob Straharic, arriving just hours before this round of 16 competition out of Boardman, Ohio.
Rob hasn't had a lot of time on the water. I think he's had a little trouble with salt water also. Not a bad ride so far for Rob.
This is the first of 2 passes in the men's round of 16. Down for Rob Straharic early in the run, but earlier Jeremy Kovac is the big reason he's here. Kovac, an already injured knee, he shows up for practice and the X Games fully expecting to ride. Sporting this brand new knee brace he had specially designed for this competition. We talked to him. He felt pretty confident, got up to ride in practice. He had the decision not to, but he chose to ride. Hits the water. Pass number 1 looks pretty good. Hit a few tricks, but then the trouble happened in pass number 2. He opens with a huge S-bend. The pressure on landing this kind of trick, almost like jumping right off the side of your house onto solid ground. The result, the final tear in a knee that had already had enough.
Everything felt great. On the first pass, I didn't do anything big, but everything felt good for not skiing for a couple months.
And then the second pass, what did it feel like when you came down? Did you hear a pop? Did you just feel a sensation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, well, coming down was fine, but as soon as I landed, it's like my knee went pop, pop. And that was, you know, that's the exact same sensation it had 2 months ago. So obviously, you know, wakeboarding's out of the question.
So for this year?
It's finished. I'm done. This year's done.
Within an hour of that statement, the phone rang in Eastern Ohio. Hours later, the jet lands in San Diego carrying Rob Straharic.
What's going on?
Todd Wetherill was there when he arrived.
You have not even registered yet. You got to be in a hurry to get to the water.
Yes, sir. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know where I'm going. I have Brian Wheeler right here to take care of me, my big brother.
An ex-staffer helps him load up the car. Rob Straharic literally just time for lunch maybe on the way to Bonita Cove. And within hours of a phone call and the bad news for Jeremy Kovac, the young man who probably would have ended up watching this competition from Boardman, Ohio, is now starring in it.
Second pass looking strong for Rob Straharic. There's the air roll to revert. I think he's going to be stoked with this pass.
He is amped. For a guy who just got off an airplane in a whirlwind tour, he's riding wonderfully.
Watch the whirly bird. He has great extension, pulls it in, and he's back down on the water.
Last night, Straharic was at a dance recital with his girlfriend. Today, maybe dancing to the next round.
How you feeling? Just got off the jet.
Straharic sets the mark to beat. Yet to come, Shannon Best, Brandon Johnson, and the winningest wakeboarder in history. Here at Bonita Cove would love to win the X. Parks Bonifay on the right has already won it. 1996 champion. Here's how we work it. A wakeboarder's dozen, if you will, going to split into 2 groups of 8. Everybody gets a couple of passes. Top 4 in each heat will move on. But Tunor Mungiat, who qualified at the Asian X Games for San Diego, will not move on. 2 falls the limit. He's out. Greg Necrasson on the water now, 21-year-old out of Winter Park, Florida. He's bowed out early in both X Games competitions in 96 and 97. Looking for a better ride this year.
Greg's on a brand new board. He's only had it about a week. He has been ripping on this thing. We're expecting a great pass from Greg Necrasson. Good look at the whirly bird. A little short on the landing.
Necrasson's one of those guys that really excels under this new format. No time limit on the water, no limit on the number of tricks.
Greg cuts in hard. Looks like he was going to go for a Mobius, but then the hand comes back around. It was just a normal backside roll. Watch him as he cuts in here. A front roll with a big, huge method grab. That's a beautiful trick. Coming back the other way, you get a good look. Cutting in hard. Looks like he's got his hand behind his back. That normally means he's going to a Mobius, but here, doesn't get it. Backside roll, he goes down.
Question is, will he do it now? Greg Necrasson, under this new format, all the riders get an opportunity. One fall, you can get back up and ride. 2 falls, you're done. And Necrasson is certainly ticked about what could have been a Mobius attempt.
Yeah, I think he's kind of disappointed in the fact that his trick selection has just not been there. He's going to have to buff it up. Hey, usually when you see the wrap, it means one thing. Greg loves this trick. Watch him coming in. This is called the KGB. It's a blindside backside roll with a 360 at the end. Unreal. You see the front right there.
Necrasson needs to stick this second pass. Darren Shapiro in the offing. Only one more rider left to go in Heat A.
Boy, Doug, you go down on your first pass, you got to step it up. I don't know what Greg's thinking. He has gone to 540s and very, very basic inverted maneuvers. The judges are not going to be happy with this run.
Some of the earlier riders chose to go a little bit conservative here in Bonita Cove. Maybe the salt water, maybe the pressure of the X Games experience. Everybody kind of battling back and forth to see what they're going to throw on the water.
Watch him, he cuts in here for the KGB. That is an awesome trick. Remember, backside roll to blind 360. Virtually impossible, but Greg made that one look very easy. Looked like he was going to start off hard for the second pass, and then he goes back to some other tricks.
Necrasson in 4th, and that is not good news because right now Darren Shapiro is waiting to ride with a good ride. Necrasson will be bumped out. But the great news, Rob Straharic, the man who flew from Boardman, Ohio in the last 24 hours, will live to the next round.
Down there in Bonita Cove, the fans awaiting the appearance of Mr. Shapiro. High tide falling late afternoon, allowing a lot of folks to join us for this year's wakeboard competition. More on night 1 of X Games 98 coming up after this.
5 times the professional wakeboard tour champion Darren Shapiro has won more wakeboard contests than any other rider in history except for the X Games.
Darren really wants this one bad. Almost takes a bobble there.
Darren getting a little dangerously close to the wake on the first turn here at the back end of Bonita Cove.
They've got this wake so loaded down. That thing's like knee deep for Darren Shapiro.
Shorter in stature, but a lot of power from this young rider. Pass number 1 of 2.
Beautiful. I tell you what, Darren, one thing he wanted to do today was come out a little bit more conservative. He knows what it takes to make the finals. There's the S-bend. Does an air front flip right there. Yeah, this is a little bit less air than we normally see from Darren.
And it's more than we've seen from the rest of the field so far. What does that tell you? The skis are the backside blind landing.
I tell you, that's a difficult maneuver. You can't see where you're even going to land.
All this on that injured left ankle. Darren told us that he's feeling.
Out on the water, it's really not bad at all. I get a little bit pumped out before I go out, and so I think, you know, that's one of the reasons I might not feel it too much on the water. It felt good during practice, but once I get off the water, I know it's a little bit sore.
Shapiro riding through the pain. Pass number 2 setting up. Judging intensity, execution, and composition, I see all of those elements being addressed so far.
Oh, definitely. I tell you, Darren's so focused that starts off with a Vulcan. That can't really be hurting him much out there on the water. This guy is the most focused rider out there today. Huge front. Darren said he wanted to go conservative, but he's well out into the flats, almost 50 feet.
You got to wonder what Greg Necrasson is thinking right now. Standing on the shore, knowing full well that Darren Shapiro has probably just nailed 2 perfect passes that will definitely advance him and leave Greg Necrasson wishing he could have moved on to the next round.
Well, one thing about Darren, he always knows what it takes just enough to get there, making himself look better. Look at this skeezer. This is an unbelievable landing. Behind his back, he can't even see where he's landing. That was perfect. Coming back the other direction, look at this. He goes right into the S-band, well over the top of the Hatteras. As he comes back down, He lands it, switch, which means it's a Vulcan.
Shapiro doing just enough for himself, but so much for all of us to watch. A little high five for our scuba cam in the water at Bonita Cove, and with that, Darren Shapiro will certainly move on, and that is bad news for Greg Necrasson. He was in 4th before Shapiro rode. We only take the top 4 from the heat. So Darren will advance 63-44, the official score, and he advances as the #1 seed. A bonus for Darren Shapiro. And in the next round, here's the big bonus. Darren Shapiro will have the double up, and he's already, as you see, perfected the speedball, as he calls it, the double front. But earlier this year, will we see this trick? He unveiled it at the Masters, a triple front flip. Now, he didn't land it there, but we know he's been working on it. And as the #1 seed in Heat A, he's in that prime position to decide whether or not he would want to use it. We'll see how Rob Straharic does with a full night's rest. Unfortunately, Necrasson here, Hussey, and our first ever tie rider at the X Games, Dun Armongiat, will not advance.
Darren told me the other day that triple front flip that you saw him attempt there at the Masters, it is coming. He's working on it. He's close. Will it arrive in time for the finals? He's still the only guy to perfect the double front flip, the speedball. Joining us now, Chris McKendry is here. She will take over the cabana inside. Doug Dunbar gives you a wakeboard wake-up call.
In wakeboarding, the X Games is unparalleled in importance. The highs and lows at this level are extreme. As defending champion Jeremy Kovac goes down with a knee injury, the virtual unknown rising star of Rob Straharic begins to shine. Parks Bonifay beat up on the competition with X Gold in '96. In '98, he won't even get the chance. Bonifay's demise leaves the door open for young up-and-comer Brandon Johnson on your left, and returning Xer Zane Schwank. But there's pressure, and it's like looking down the barrel of a gun in front of a packed house. And that pressure may have gotten to Dean Lavelle just 1 year ago here at Bonita Cove, when riders had to remember their trick runs.
What's he doing right now? Look at the clock. Dean must have forgot his pass. He forgot his run. We've seen this before from Dean Lavelle. Now he's got to step on the gas all the way. He's looking really sloppy here, and he's got to rush all his tricks.
Oh, my.
He's got 1 second left.
He's not going to do it.
He's not going to make it in. There's the S-spin right there, but it's out of time.
In the round of 8, you should watch for the style of Sean Murray and the confidence of Darren Shapiro. Men's wakeboarding semifinals, double the fun at the X Games.
Darren Shapiro, the diminutive but dominant one. He is a little bit hurt, but he is very hungry. He's never won an X Games gold medal. Can the competition push him to land that double front flip that only he can do, or perhaps even try that
round of action and win riders total, and the very first, Rob Straharic didn't even dream of being here at all. Jeremy Kovac, defending champion, out with the knee injury. Straharic lives to the next round of competition.
Yeah, he is stoked to get on the water. Starts off with a beautiful oriental grab on the Rayleigh. Comes back with a stale 540. The judges are going to like this so far.
You got to wonder how that plays on his mind. I would imagine, as you see, he's asking for more speed. A real comfort level, having not even been here a few days ago. Now he's here. He's got nothing to lose.
I think the pressure's off Moby Dick. A beautiful trick. I tell you, the pressure is off this kid right now. I think he's going to be stoked with his first pass.
Stoked, he's working the crowd. We got a line of boats off to his right. Raise the roof, baby. Straharic and the rest of the field of 8 competitors will go at it, and each one will ride up and back here in Bonita Cove. Judged subjectively, the top 4 will then ride for X Games gold, and it's all based on the 100-point scale. Pass number 2 of 2 now for Straharic.
Starts off with a cradle tantrum. A very good grab on that one. Coming back the other way with a crow. He is stoked. He's going off. There's the whirly-bird.
Execution looking terrific in pass number 2. This just might be a medal run going on, Todd.
Oh, he got the chromo. He even threw in a method grab. I think this is the run he needs.
Don't forget, at the end of this pass, we've got the double up in the round of 8. A little high for our scuba camp. Trouble A lot of slack.
Oh, man, I think Rob was looking at the cameraman when the boat started to turn, giving him a lot of slack in the line, and when that happens, it just snaps it right out of your hands.
And in the rules that we have in the new format, if you fall that late in the second pass, you don't get the double up.
Boy, you get a good look at the Crow with the method grab right there, and then watch coming back the other direction. This is called the Crow Mob. He comes in hard. Beautiful extension, barely gets the grab, but look at that blindside landing.
What a huge mistake, though, for Rob Straharic. The slack in the line going the different direction. He does set the pace, but he possibly gave up a medal run here at the X Games. Straharic here because defending champ Jeremy Kovac out with the knee injury. Yet to come, the young Brandon Johnson out of Denver, and this man, veteran Dean Lavelle, riding to redeem himself for past mistakes at the X Games.
Doug, thank you, folks.
It is certainly the wakeboarders. Men's round 2, 8 competitors in all, but only 4 will advance to the final round of competition and go for gold. Now Zane Schwank, 22-year-old out of Winter Haven, Florida, finished almost dead last in 1996. Major injury last year. Glad to be back.
Zane is known for holding it on when it comes down to the wire and in rough water. This guy goes off. Little 360. He's going to need to step it up if he wants to make these finals. There's the Crow Mob. That's what he needs.
In this round of 8, remember, only 4 will advance. A clean whirlybird. Weight was a little bit back.
Not too bad. He is kind of bobbling on the landings. Look at the slack when the boat turns. That's what happened to Rob Straharic, but luckily Zane pulls it right out. Watch as he comes in here. Gets a little 360, doesn't quite get the pop that he needs. He kind of cuts through the second weight. He will be knocked on that by the judges.
Loading up for the Slurpee. Nailed it.
That's a difficult trick. He's got to come in without seeing the wake. There you see the backside Mobius. He's putting together a pretty good technical run. Goes for the Crow. He's leaning a little forward. There's the barefooter in him. He comes back up.
He's got the vest on, able to spin around 180 degrees on his back and then bring the feet all the way back forward. Zane Schwank, that Cypress Garden ski experience coming into play.
Well, then he came back with a Vulcan, barely landed that, and now again, butt checking the roll to revert. Watch as he comes in right here. He's a little bit forward as he goes to land. He sits down on the water, but look at the barefoot presence of mind to grab the handle, tumble up, and continue that pass.
And to answer the question, yes, that's acceptable. Now the double up.
That's the Moby Dick. That's a great trick. I think that's what he needs to get to the finals.
Top 4 will advance in the round of 8. And for Zane Schwank, the double up might make the difference.
Well, you get a good look at the double up there. That was a knee-deep wake. Comes back the other way. Moby Dick, that's a great trick. One more look at it. He's wrapped into the wake. He gets a perfect double up. Good pop, great extension. Brings the handle down, right back on the water.
Creating that wake, the driver turns the boat 180 degrees, but it's up to the rider to nail it. Zane Schwank does. Currently first in the round of 8.
Snickers. Wakeboarding, one of the fundamental tricks is the Mobius. A backside roll with a full twist and a handle pass. Then there's variations, like a chromo. That's a front roll with a full twist. Or the beat rows. Approach the wake front side, back roll to a full twist. The hot trend, nailing blind spins. That's when a rider can't spot the boat when landing. Like the Moby Dick, a backflip over the wake with a blindside 360. Or a KGB, a backside roll, also with a blindside 360. Cap the run with a big trick on the double up. 2 wakes roll into 1. It's a big chance to impress the judges.
Dean Lavelle can nail a lot of those tricks you just saw. It's unfortunate that for this great rider, he still lives in the shadow of the 2 big mistakes, the fall in 96 at the X and last year's faux pas when he forgot his run.
Boy, his biggest goal is just to stand up a couple of runs. Here he loads up for the Slurpee. Same trick you saw Zane throw. He's a little cleaner on that than Zane was. He gets a 360, throws in a stale fish grab. I tell you, they're going to like what he's doing here. He's throwing in grabs on his inverted maneuvers. There's the shifty. 180, that's beautiful.
I'm watching Lavelle's face. He's amped at the end of one pass. He's got a little confidence now, but I still sense a little bit of nerves.
Yeah, watch him here on the S-bend. Beautiful extension. Watch when he comes back down to the water. He puts his legs down to the water. That's good.
You know his heart's got to be beating right now. He's one run away from maybe heading to the finals again at the X.
Ooh, we got a little off axis on the 540 blind start. Did a pretty good job there coming back with a Fruit Loop.
Blindside landing for Lavelle. Confidence building, and don't forget at the end of the second pass, the double up, he'll get a chance to add some style points. What'll happen here, the boat's going to turn 180 degrees, and where the wakes converge, he'll get the chance.
Watch him come on this chromo. Beautiful landing. Look at the smile on Dean Lavelle's face.
Here comes the double up.
Goes for the Fruit Loop again. That was in his run before. That's an odd selection for Dean Lavelle.
And to throw two tricks like that, not really good for the judges either. Dean Lavelle, second place for right now, though. He's ensured a spot in the finals despite the fall in the double up. Darren Shapiro yet to ride in the round of 8. The big question now, will the whirlwind trip for Rob Straharic come to an end?
Well, Doug, he's toast with Shapiro still to come and almost certain to qualify. The story for me there was the guy they used to call Insane Zane Schwank. He's been mostly lame Zane lately. Broke his leg in '96, re-broke it last fall, had surgery in October, was out for 8 weeks, still not riding very smoothly. You saw him hit those landings, have to pull himself up out of the water almost every single trick on that second pass. That is gutting it out, and Schwank looks good for the final. Coming up, Chris McKendrick and Darren Shapiro still yet to qualify for the Final Four. Back into Bonita Cove with Doug Dunbar and Todd Wetherill.
Watch closely now. It is a rare moment that a wakeboarder willingly in competition will go underwater. Shannon Best is now on the bubble. Rob Straharic did not survive, so you know men's round 2. 2 riders to go. Sean Murray now looking for a bid to the finals.
Big grip well out of the flats.
Whoa.
Wow, he goes over the cameraman.
A little close to scuba cam. Murray needs just over 65 points. He has never finished better than 6th place at the X Games, but under this new format, we feel he's got a pretty good shot.
Man, look at the size of that whirly bird. He must have been 30 feet into the flats. There's a beautiful 540. Well, I tell you, he's putting together a good run so far. There's the Mobius. He is really doing well.
Sean Murray, under this format of no time limit, no limit on the number of tricks, really excels, and he gets awfully close to scuba cam as well.
Well, you had a good look at that grip coming in.
Pass number 2 now. 2 passes, remember, and at the end of this one, Murray will get the double up like the other riders.
Well, look at the stylish method grab on the backside roll. That's why the judges like him. Indy right there on the front side roll.
Now these new special handles we've seen, this is the KGB he's loading up for. Left hand gripping up on the rope.
Man, he gets the method grab on a KGB. That is very impossible on that trick. It's the Crow 540. Not many people throwing that trick out there either. Beautiful Rayleigh. Look at the whip of that rope. He had slack. He wasn't paying attention either.
And that's with this new format. You tempt the boat into the corner, trying to throw in an extra trick. If you hang onto the handle and it doesn't kill you, obviously, in the corner, you get the bonus because you nail the trick.
Now look for Sean to throw something pretty conservative off the double up. He knows he's in the finals. He put together a great run. He wants to land this double up. Goes for an Indy tantrum. Called that one right. Why? Because the judges saw his run and knew that it was awesome.
There's his dad. He's been here ever since the practice round. Sean Murray will move on to the finals with that performance here at Bonita Cove.
Watch him as he comes in front side. This is the Crow. Watch how he tugs the handle to the outside, throws in the 540 at the end. He made that trick look easy. We get a good look right here of the big Rayleigh. Watch as he comes down. Look at the slack in the line. The boat is turning now. He's going to have to whip it, and he gets back out. Now watch this. A big Indy tantrum. A perfect grab and a perfect landing for Sean Murray.
A conservative double up. You called it, Todd, and it works. Father very, very proud. Sean Murray feeling great, and the great ability for him late in the round, qualifying so high, to know what he's kind of got to do to get in. Qualifying first as of now, just over 73.7 points. Darren Shapiro, the last rider in the semifinal round. This guy picked up a wakeboard and a guitar on the same date, back in March of 1991.
get up in the morning, usually have some music on my clock radio, and it just usually gets me going. First thing I remember this morning was switch 7 to blind I stuck yesterday. And then when I finally sat up, I realized one of my butt cheeks felt like it wasn't even there, or it was bleeding to death. Get to the lake and I hop on my skateboard, and then I just get a little bit more amped up as I skate down to the dock. It's like when I do a lot of orbital 5s.
Throws a 3?
The 3 gets, I feel like I don't have anywhere to go.
This is Darren Shapiro's daily routine, always at the top, but always looking to improve. In wakeboarding, a second set of eyes is unpopular, but key to his success.
Some people could call him a coach. You know, I just call him a friend who I like to ride with, and we help each other.
So what did you think of that?
No, don't be anxious.
There's a lot of riders out there who would even knock that.
I have fun trying to be creative, and then you have fun with the finished product.
Yeah, I think people maybe think that we don't have fun doing it. We plan on doing it every day, and we plan on being the best we can be at it. And that, in a sense, that's pretty serious, but it's fun being successful and getting the job done. Once I start busting moves out, I just realize why I'm doing it. You know, there's nothing like flying, launching off the wake, and just getting as much air as you possibly can.
In my eyes, going big, it's actually scary. The pounding that Darren takes learning a lot of this stuff, I mean, it's brutal. I don't want to do that, and I don't think a lot of the other guys want to do that.
And some days I don't even want to get out of bed. It just feels like somebody just beat me with a baseball bat. It'd be like jumping off the roof of your house 25 times, 3 times a day, you know? After wakeboarding all day, the guitar is such a different thing. It's such a different feeling. Some different thoughts and feelings come through my head and really settle me down. And then once I lay in the bed, though, at night, I'm already thinking about the next day again. Something like that?
Yeah.
Second pass for Darren Shapiro here at Bonita Cove, a huge Vulcan. And for Darren, he's won just about everything that there is except the X Games victory.
He sure has. Darren Shapiro pulling a skeezer. That's an incredible, tough backside blind landing. Frontside Rayleigh. Darren is going big, but he looks pretty conservative.
He went conservative in the round of 16, and if any rider out here can kind of predict what he should do to advance, he would be the guy.
I would say after this run, he's going to go for the double. He needs a bigger trick. He threw a Rayleigh and a 360. You normally don't see those 2 tricks so early in the pass.
The boat turning 180 degrees, the double Todd's talking about, if you haven't heard, a double front flip. No one else has ever landed one except Shapiro in competition.
Watch him as he cuts in. He'll get a big one. Goes for the double. Man, that's a wrenching fall.
And those are the types of falls that Darren Shapiro talked about in that piece, jumping off the house day in and day out. That altitude alone, 10 to 15 feet.
Boy, he gets a little bit far forward. That usually carries him down course. Look at the slack in the line. And then when he lands, he's a bit forward, over-rotating, and it just jerks it right out of his hands.
Ever the mathematician, Shapiro scores 71-78, 3rd place in the round of 8. He will now move on to the final round of competition. Kind of a surprise, though, the #1 qualifier, Sean Murray. Zane Schwank will join in, as well as Dean Lavelle. Now we'll send it over to Paul Page and Jan Beekes at Dual Luge.
Tactical and
doesn't fit in a box. Doug Dunbar, Todd Weatherall size up Sean's competition in the wakeboarding finals.
In the men's wakeboard finals, Sean Murray provides the styles and the smiles in a format that really fits his riding. Zane Schwank, who sat out last year's X Games with a devastating leg injury, is showing the heart of a gladiator. He will not go down. Dean Lavelle's mistake on the lake just 1 year ago makes him an emotional favorite in this final. But will anyone be able to stop the 5-time Tour champion, the compact and powerful Darren Shapiro, who's yet to win the most coveted prize?
Winning X Games would be the icing on the cake, really. Purse is just huge this year. Wakeboarding's bigger than it's ever been, and this is the biggest event since wakeboarding started. So would mean a lot to me to take a win here at the X Games. I did the silver last year, and you know, I don't take second place too well.
He's putting together a pretty good technical run. Goes for the crow. He's leaning a little forward. There's the barefooter in him. He comes back up.
Zane Schwank scrapped his way through the semis. His heart continues to pump on all cylinders.
To be able to earn a spot this year means a lot to me. I worked my tail off to get here, and I'm just ecstatic to be here no matter how I do.
I tell you, they're going to like what he's doing here. He's throwing in grabs on his inverted maneuvers. There's the shifty 180. That's beautiful.
Dean Lavelle has never looked better in X competition, but he's still battling the demons.
I feel like my toughest competition right now is myself. I mean, I don't believe myself to be a choker, but I keep proving myself, you know, at the X Games especially, that I like to fail miserably. I'm ready to just stick my passes and see where it gets me.
Where it gets you in wakeboarding at the X Games is big air. But with these guys, the bonus is big fun. The men's wakeboarding finals. It's about big air, but mostly about big fun. Finals are set. Sean Murray, Zane Schwank, Darren Shapiro, and Dean Lavelle. These four will battle it out on Bonita Cove. Dean Lavelle, without question, a little more relaxed here in the finals than he was earlier in the preliminary rounds. That loose attitude maybe might be the key for him to ride well as we search for gold. The way we got here through round number 2, no real big surprises. Zane Schwank, the number 5 seed, advanced, but otherwise Murray, Lavelle, Shapiro, as expected, all moving on to the final round of competition. First up, Dean Lavelle, the number 4 qualifier with the big faux pas last year. Very close now to redemption.
Dean just wants to have a good ride. He's trying to ride as clean as he can and stand up this pass. Starts it off with a crow. That's not a bad maneuver. Seen a lot of those. Beautiful looking whirly bird. Pretty good so far for Dean. They call that one the bat wing. He actually gets a Indy grab on that too. There's the blind 360. Not a bad move. Fruit loop. He gets the fruit loop on the first pass.
Couple of bobbles on pass number 1. Nice blindside landing for Lavelle. Overall, a good run, but I don't see the style that the judges really want to see in pass number 1.
Yeah, really the only 2 technical tricks, the fruit loop and the crow mob. Watch him here as he goes for the fruit loop. He barely gets that. Notice how he rubs his backhand on the water. That helps him back up. Going the other direction, there's a great look at the crow mob. He almost cuts through that back wake.
The second of 2 passes, then we'll have the double up. And for your knowledge, judges are looking for intensity, how fierce the competitor rides, style as well, and composition, how the run is manufactured and put together.
Definitely not a bad second pass so far. We had an S-bend. That was the Slurpee. A very difficult maneuver. Goes for the Moby Dick. He never finds the handle.
Sean Murray on the dock. He's yet to ride.
Take a look here as he comes into the wake. He has good rotation, but the problem right there, he never gets the handle. Look, his handle even touches the back of the fin.
The board couldn't get all the way around. Now, the double up for Dean Lavelle. He's going double front.
Dean, never seen that from Dean before. He almost gets the double front flip.
Sean Murray acknowledging the good effort. Lavelle, the score, 63.89. He sets the pace for the rest of the field. And Darren Shapiro, the only man to ever do the double front and land it right away in competition, is yet to ride. If you could bottle confidence, his face would be on the label.
We've seen that expression before, but Shapiro yet to win a gold medal so far at the X Games. Now to
the dock an entire year because of a leg injury. If we awarded a medal for heart, I think we'd both award it to this guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to see Zane here in the finals. There's the S-bend. That's a Rayleigh with a twist. Excellent opener for Zane Schwank.
He needs just under 64 points to move into the lead. Dean Lavelle now setting the pace.
A little bit better three right there from Zane. There's the crow move. He gets it. A little slack in the line. He's going to need a little bit more edge coming into the wake. There's the whirly bird.
He's landing him nicely. Now, toward the latter part of the run, we're seeing the aggressiveness getting back in, but a little too much time in between a lot of tricks.
Yeah, you watch him here. He has good extension, but as he's coming down, watch him cut the second wake. He almost goes down on that.
Pass number 1 down. Now pass number 2, the double up at the end.
Making a hard carve out. Hey, he's setting up for the Slurpee. That's a blind start to a trick, an incredible one. Judges like to see that difficulty. Backside Mobius, one of Zane's best tricks. And then he does an air Mobius. That's a Mobius without a wake.
A full twisting front flip. The Mobius, very difficult by any standard. Big error for Zane.
Goes for the Vulcan. That's an S-bend, and then right at the last second, they pull it to go to fakie.
Boat will come around 180 degrees for the double up. Schwank's going to use that extra handle. He's gripped it with his right hand. We'll wait and see what he throws in the double. He's amped, though. Feeling good about pass number 2.
Watch him here for the air Mobius. That's a no-wake trick. He barely gets back to the handle, but that's all keeping the rope tight.
Wakes are converging. Hit it just right. Good air.
Oh, hang on. He goes down and comes back up and lands the wrap Moby Dick.
We talked about the heart of this guy. He was on his bottom 2 or 3 times in the prelims and in the semis, and again here in the final round of competition. This is exactly why he's here.
Watch him when he comes in. He just doesn't have enough speed to get across that second wake. That skips him over. He gets down. The barefooter takes over, and Zane is stoked about his run.
As well he should be. Terrific couple of passes. Great double up. Zane Schwank backflip on the way out, and he'll flip himself right into first place for now. 72.11. Dean Lavelle now moves into second place. The top 4 riders here in the wakeboarding finals go in seeded order. Everybody gets a couple of passes to impress the judges. And then we determine our winner by the final score, including the double up. 2 top contenders, Darren Shapiro on the left, Sean Murray on the right. Couple of guys with very different styles as well. The tail of the wake, you see Darren leads the medal count, but Murray on average has been better through the prelims and the semis. The double up really could make the difference.
Murray on the left here, he's the style guy. He tweaks all of his grabs. Look on this Indy tantrum. Watch him straighten out his legs. That's an incredible grab. He holds all of the fans right in his heart. On the other hand, look at the facial expression on Darren as he takes off for this double front flip. Absolute power. This is Webster's definition of strength.
24-year-old Darren Shapiro on the water now in Bonita Cove. A rare placement for Darren. He's usually the last guy to go. What does he do? In the trick run, maybe not a whole lot different, but the real question comes with the double up.
Well, I tell you, Darren will probably amp up his run just a little bit. He's so used to riding in that last spot and getting able to see everyone else before he goes. Starts off with a huge Vulcan. He must have been 30 feet out in the flats.
And he works the slack in the line well.
Oh, what
the
a skeezer. That was awesome.
That is a Darren Shapiro patented move. Beautiful 540 with a handle pass.
Oh, frontside roll to Reavert, but he throws in the method grab. The judges are going to like this so far.
And again, we talked about the differences. No facial expression.
Oh,
look at this.
Orbital 540. We've never seen that trick before. That was unreal.
Not even a smile out of Darren Shapiro as of yet. All business throughout competition and here in the finals.
Doug, I think I even saw a stale fish grab on that. Watch this huge Vulcan. He is so far out into the flats. He lands at Reavert right at the last second. He has to butt it out because he's got to be 30 feet out. And then watch this, the orbital. He does. He throws in a stale fish on the blindside landing of that. That's crazy.
Pass number 2, Shapiro with the edge like no one else. This guy cuts harder at the wake than anyone I've ever seen.
Well, he sure does. Look at the tightness of that rope as he comes across. There's the S-bend. He goes to an air front flip. He is just going off right now. Little bit off axis on the 540, but boy, I tell you, after that pass, then he does an orbital. He gets another stale fish grab.
And that's where Dean Lavelle fell earlier. He got the wakeboard caught up in the handle. Shapiro executes it perfectly. 2 complete passes.
Boy, watch him as he cuts across the wake. Look at the edge of the front of that board. That is pure power. He loads the line. He gets huge air for the orbital, and look at the stale fish grab. He had every bit of power to land that trick.
And that kind of trick is so close to disaster when you're working the rope right on the edge of the board.
Boy, he went so fluid from one trick right back to the front roll. That was awesome. Threw in an indie grab to boot.
He needs 72-12 to win. The difference could be right here in the double up. Asking for a little bit of a speed adjustment. Still no expression from Darren.
Crowd completely on their feet. There it is. Oh,
and he nailed it.
Oh, he gets the speed ball.
Darren Shapiro, the patented double front. What can you say, Dean Lavelle and Sean Murray? My goodness. He missed it in the semifinal round of 8. He moved on regardless. Finally, emotion from Darren Shapiro.
Boy, watch as the wakes converge. A huge, huge double. What a beautiful, that's the difference between now and, of course, the prelims. He carried it straight up. He had perfect, watch as he comes across the way here. He's got perfect rotation. He's coming down. He straightened his legs a little bit soon. That almost pulls him back, but boy, what a landing for Darren Shapiro. Another look right here. Right mid-body, starts straightening his legs out right now. Brings it down to the water, brings the handle in, and my gosh, what a pass for Darren Shapiro.
The absolute first bit of emotion we saw in about 70 seconds. 75-89 the score. Now the pressure on Sean Murray. Shapiro leads, Schwank second, Lavelle in third, and Murray yet to ride. One rider to go in the men's wakeboard finals at the 98 X Games. Sean Murray now in the position to chase Darren Shapiro.
Huge air on the crimp. He floated that thing out at least 35 feet.
Murray is so close. 6th at the X Games 2 years ago, 8th last year. He will certainly finish better without question. It's just a matter of what color the medal might be.
Man, the size of that whirly bird. He is really stoked up for this run.
Beautiful handle pass. We've talked about the style of Murray, the contrast to the power of Darren Shapiro. Murray seemingly a little less stylish with the smile, though, and not seeing it. Now we're starting to see a little bit.
I think the key right there was power. Check this out. This is so huge on the whirly bird. That's the biggest whirly bird I've ever seen.
Pass number 2 for Sean Murray.
Backside roll, gets the method grab. That's a beautiful looking maneuver. Crow 540. This is technical. This is big. The judges have got to be stoked.
Loading up for the KGB. Left hand on that handle about 8 inches up.
Oh, he is just awesome right now.
Todd, it is going to come down, it looks like, as we end pass number 2 to the double up.
Oh, man. A Rayleigh 360, a 313. He is just unreal.
Now, here's the only scary thing. Darren Shapiro nails the double front. We don't know that Murray's got a trick that'll match that.
Right now, technically, this pass is way better than Darren's. It's gonna come down to the double up. He needs to throw something pretty big here to take this contest home. Wakes converge, he gets a big one, but I tell you, I don't think that's gonna be enough. A tail poke on a backside roll.
There's his dad. He's been here throughout the entire competition. I got to be honest. Sean Murray had not talked about having anything in the bag. There's Darren, the current leader, 75-89 the score. Murray just may not have had the trick to put in there.
Boy, after an awesome pass, check this out. There's the Rayleigh 360. Oh, if he'd have thrown anything like that off the double up, he'd be taking this contest home. I got to believe that Darren Shapiro's our man. Watch him here. That's a pretty small trick off the double up.
75-78. Shapiro takes it by
11 hundredths of a point. Darren Shapiro, the double up, made the difference. The double front, the speed ball, as he's called it, helps him win his first ever X. And look at Sean Murray, ever the gentleman. Let's head down to the dock. Todd's with our winner.
Darren, you've chased them all. You finally got X, man. Tell us what you're thinking.
I can't believe it. This is a dream come true. I just, man, from my brother Travis, who pulls me every day, to Heather and Mike, who rides with me every day, and my parents and my family, who always back me up. I mean, I can't do it by myself. I need all those people there, and I just, man, it's a great moment, man.
Here's how we officially wrap it up. The gold with Darren Shapiro. Sean Murray, absent of the double-up, gets silver, and Zane Schwank, a bronze medal. As we say so long from Bonita Cove, Darren Shapiro, who has now won wakeboard's most coveted prize, gets to take a victory lap, and we all get to go along for the gold medal ride.
That is an amazing view from that rope cam. This is one of those sports, we say it a lot, but it is much, much more difficult than these guys make it appear. Shapiro, after this victory lap, back on the dock, just walking around saying, finally, finally. This is the contest that had eluded him. And I'll tell you, Darren told me a few days ago, judges are like a box of chocolates. You're never quite sure what you're going to get. And they've denied him in recent contests. Guess the solution, go out, stand your pass up, and then land a trick in the double up that nobody else in the world has perfected. Darren Shapiro.
Difference, one, Doug Dunbar.